Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity. Right, the would-be judges, the 144,000. And the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth that be like unto the speckled bird among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. Coming at you another lesson in truth. You can see the C19 thing at the bottom. Anytime that you speak about them, they like to put their own label onto your video. The name of this video is Congress Confirms the C19, because I'm not going to say it. All right, even though it's been proven, well, nevertheless, I'm not going to use the word. All right, I'm just keep calling it the C19 for the time being. But Congress confirms the C19 conspiracy theories were true. So all the things that people that were speaking out against it were saying were true. All the friendships that were broken, the businesses that failed, the families that broke, marriages that broke over this, cannot be healed. 96,000 businesses shut down. Most of them, the middle class was decimated, and majority of black-owned business, small businesses, died. The majority of them. All right. And it's funny because I highly suggest you watch this video. I'm not going to play the whole video. It's short. It's 15 minutes, and it is highly informative. And they still dismiss the myocarditis and the sudden deaths as if they didn't happen, as they promote the new C19 thing continually, as if those things didn't happen. It's like they flip the channel every time that commercial comes on. They change the channel. All right. But before I play it, this is a disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107, the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by the copyright statute that might be otherwise infringing. All right, so this is being used for educational purposes. This is not being used for monetary gain in any way whatsoever. All right. So before I even go any further, I'm just going to go to one of my favorite scriptures that we read weekly in a lesson, because it's just so fitting to the times that we're in. It's just so fitting to when you're dealing with Esau Edom, who is the so-called white man. All right. But this is Deuteronomy 33 and 29. And it reads, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. All right. So without any further ado, Jimmy Dore, the comedian and news reporter Jimmy Dore.
Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. So guess what? The House COVID-19 panel releases their final report on COVID-19, and they criticize public health response to the pandemic. You don't say.
Did they excoriate it? Would you say it went that far?
Did they excoriate? So I know what you're wondering. Does that mean that did we pointlessly destroy lives and businesses with an iron fist, or does that mean they were cracking down hard enough on us? It could go either way.
Yeah.
Was it they were destroying lives and businesses, or they weren't cracking down hard enough? I wonder what the answer is going to be. I wonder how this COVID report's going to turn out.
Wait,
I wonder.
Are they going to say not enough? Is that really how it could turn out?
Well,
I'm asking for real.
No, this is a joke I'm telling.
Oh, God.
A Republican-led House committee investigating broad aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic and its effects in the U.S. released a final report Monday summarizing its 2-year effort saying it hoped the work would serve as a roadmap for Congress, the executive branch, and the private sector to prepare for a respond to future. So the Republican-led House committee. So it's Republican, so that means the girls at The View don't have to accept it. And when I say girls, I mean grown ladies. I meant to say
neither do I.
I meant to say gals. I meant to say gals.
I don't accept it either, Jimmy. We should only have one party. To save democracy, we should have one party.
Yeah, just one, like China.
Yeah.
So maybe what they need is a good old roadmap. So this is a good old-fashioned roadmap because the last circular clusterfuck came off like they were using Waze. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that here we go. It's a 520-page report, Kurt. The House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic concludes that the coronavirus most likely emerged from a laboratory in Wuhan, China. Well, you don't say. Sounds far-fetched.
Yeah, a little bit. 520 pages to say that nonsense?
Are they sure that the people in China weren't eating bats at a wet market? Are you sure? Oh, come on.
Have I been not eating bat because I thought that causes COVID and you've robbed me of that?
Are you sure we're talking about Wuhan, China, and not Wu Quain?
Wu Quain. All right. Remember the Russian officials kept making reports about all the labs that they found in Ukraine, or Ukraine, that were laboratories set up for bioweapons. All right. So that remains another thing. Are they making Wuhan the fall guy, the patsy, so to speak? All right. You can never trust thine enemy. You can never trust what these people say. They're always found to be liars, and that's something that they try to keep out of that mainstream media here in America about the labs that were found, the connections between, fraud, and Hunter, won't say a last name, and all the monies that went to these different labs that were bioweapon labs, according to the Russians, all right, and other sources.
Are we talking about Ukraine? So it goes on. It says, citing factors like biological characteristics of the virus and illnesses among researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in the fall of 2019. The report is also critical of common COVID mitigation measures. Social distancing and mask mandates were not based on science. Hard science, but soft science.
Limp.
Pseudo science. Let's go ahead and get it. Which is not really science at all. It's just like how the color of law is not law, yet the color of law is enforced in many ways here in America. All right, and most Americans have no clue that they're being railroaded and mistreated within the justice system because the color of law is being forced on them as if it's law. But this is 1 Timothy 6:20. And it reads, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. So many things are falsely called science and are being used against the people. And the Bible warned us of this. The Lord used Timothy to write it down in his memoirs, in his letters, to warn the people that there would be a time, when people would use false science, fake science, to try to overrule real science and overrule fact.
Limp science. Flaccid science. And prolonged lockdowns caused immeasurable harm to not only the American economy, but also to the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly negative effect on younger citizens.
We've seen Taylor Lorenz. You can measure it.
So basically, every conspiracy theory you've thought about COVID they're validating,
but for the wrong reasons.
Yes. So I love how these reports, they understate the actual effect. The latest research reveals drowning severely reduces a person's ability to contribute to society.
Oh, that's what I bemoan the most is all the people, what they could have contributed.
What they could have contributed. So
that's all you're useful for is what you contribute to the system.
experts have said that such mitigation recommendations were sometimes based on research into other respiratory viruses because of a lack of knowledge about the coronavirus, and that guidelines may shift as scientific knowledge develops.
Which experts?
Yank.
So basically, they're comparing oranges to apples, lemons to grapes. They're going to have different properties, different entities, and work completely differently. You can't compare. You can't use one to try and decide what the other one will do. And that's pretty much what they did. So when I say pseudoscience, false science, well.
However, the report applauds travel restrictions instituted by the Trump administration early, yank, saying that they helped save lives and were unjustly criticized as xenophobia. No, we know now that the virus wasn't anywhere deadly like they said it was. In fact,
my stepdaughter was working for the airlines. She came home sick with that shit before it was even in the news. And came in, got everybody sick and left. Didn't know what the hell was going on. I caught it. It was horrible. I beat it in 3 days. Within 3 days, oregano, garlic, honey, and rest was the main thing. 3 fucking days. I was fine. And I knew shit got real when I couldn't smell anything. Because I had never lost my sense of smell before. I was like, oh boy, this is. But within 3 days, I was fine and never caught it again. I was around people that were sick with it. But all I can tell you is that the people who took the Band-Aid, they get it and they kept getting it over and over again. All right. And so when it comes to natural immunity, well, I'll let the report speak for itself.
Bill Gates said it was just like the flu, a little different, but it had a low fatality rate. How low? Less than 0.5%. So if you got COVID, you had a 99.5% chance of surviving. And the people who died were old with comorbidities, just like the flu, but a little different.
Yeah, with all of these other issues, which that could have affected, all right, because I lost my father, but not because of the C19. My father, after being informed not to, he took the Band-Aid. And it had a reaction with his medications, and, well, there it is.
As the great Bill Gates, the billionaire we like
said. As the great Bill Gates said. So they're still lying for Trump. That's what they're doing. They're lying. That's what's called lying for Trump. Unbelievable.
Well, do you remember the travel restrictions and all that at the time? It was racist to even say COVID was a problem.
Yes.
I remember this abrupt switch where all of a sudden everybody who was...
Nancy Pelosi was in Chinatown saying, come to Chinatown. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Get some bat.
Yeah.
We're saving some bat on the Barbie for you.
The administration, the administration is also lauded for Operation Warp Speed, the effort to quickly develop the COVID-19 vaccine, which the report calls an incredible feat of science that saved millions. Hey, we all know that the best and safest way to develop an experimental drug is at warp speed.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, even if that were true, Pfizer didn't want to be part of warp speed because they didn't want all the oversight of warp speed.
Warp speed.
And, once again, the sudden deaths and the myocarditis in world-class athletes, middle school athletes, and high school athletes dropping dead with heart conditions and blood clots. What was the one thing they all had in common? I'm not going to, once again, I won't speak, I won't say anything, but, this is Ecclesiastes 12:10. Never trust thy enemy, for like if iron rusteth, so his wickedness. So you can't trust anything that these people say. As a matter of fact, I got a couple videos on a completely different topic. All right. Let me, are they here? I think they're here. Yeah. This one. Those two. All right. So let's play this one first.